A woman is sitting across from a man and she's telling him everything about how she feels. Not with her mouth, not with a text, not even with eye contact, but with her body. And the wild part is, the man has no idea. He thinks the conversation is just normal. He thinks she's just being friendly. And later, when the moment passes, he'll say something like, "I don't know what went wrong." If that's ever been you, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll be able to spot attraction before it disappears and understand when a woman isn't just interested, but genuinely open to something more. And no, this isn't about manipulation. It's about awareness, because the body speaks long before words do. Let me be honest with you, most men don't miss opportunities because they say the wrong thing. They miss them because they don't see what's already happening. Female psychology doesn't usually shout. It whispers. It shows up in subtle shifts, small movements, unconscious behaviors that most people overlook completely. And here's the part that changes everything. Those signals often appear long before a woman ever says how she feels out loud. Now I want you to think about your own experiences for a second. Maybe there was a moment at a cafe, at work, at a party, where something felt slightly different, but you couldn't explain it. Maybe she lingered a little longer than expected. Maybe there was a pause that felt charged, and afterward, you replayed it in your head, wondering if you missed something. If that's you, I want you to comment below. I've felt that, because you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not imagining things. These moments are real, but they require awareness to recognize. I'm Mary Smith, host of the Senior Mindful Living YouTube channel, and today I'm going to guide you through something most people never fully understand. Not just what women say, but what their bodies reveal when they feel safe, curious, and emotionally open. Here's what research and real-life observation both tell us. Women often communicate romantic or emotional interests non-verbally first. In fact, studies in behavioral psychology suggest that subtle signals can appear multiple times before the average man consciously recognizes even one. And no, these signals aren't calculated moves or manipulative tactics. They are often automatic, rooted in biology and emotional safety. When attraction begins to build, the body responds before the mind has even organized it into words. And this is where it gets interesting. The human body is actually very bad at hiding the truth. You can control your words, you can rehearse what to say, you can even fake a smile. But your body? Your body leaks information constantly. It reveals comfort, tension, interest, hesitation, all in real time. That's why understanding this changes how you see every interaction moving forward. Let's start with something most men completely overlook, even though it's one of the clearest early indicators: the neck. When a woman slightly tilts her head while listening to you, when she gently moves her hair to one side, or when she exposes one side of her neck and holds that position, it's not random. From an evolutionary perspective, the neck is one of the most vulnerable parts of the body. It protects vital arteries, so when someone exposes it, even subtly, it signals a level of comfort and trust. But here's where it becomes more than just comfort. As attraction grows, that area often becomes more active. She might lightly touch her neck without thinking. Adjust a necklace. Let her fingers rest there just a second longer than necessary. These aren't rehearsed gestures. They're unconscious responses tied to emotional and physiological shifts. I remember a client once telling me about a date he thought went nowhere. He said, "She was nice, but I didn't feel anything from her." Notice how she positions herself. Notice if her movements slow down around you. Notice if she stays present instead of pulling away. This isn't about analyzing every micro movement like a machine. It's about becoming aware. She had stayed physically close instead of creating distance. What he interpreted as just being polite was actually comfort leaning toward interest. And this is where many men misread the situation, not because they lack intelligence, but because they're looking for loud signals instead of quiet ones. Here's a simple exercise you can try the next time you're in a conversation with someone you're interested in. Instead of focusing on what you're going to say next, shift your attention outward. Because awareness changes everything. Now let's go a layer deeper. Another subtle but powerful area most people miss entirely is the inner wrists. This one is quiet, almost invisible, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. When a woman feels relaxed and emotionally open, her body language softens. Her gestures become more fluid. She may speak with her palms slightly upward. She might rest her chin on her hand with her wrist exposed. or allow her arms to remain open instead of crossed. Why does this matter? Because the wrists are vulnerable pulse points. When people feel defensive, they subconsciously protect them by crossing arms, turning away, or closing off. But when someone feels safe, those protective behaviors fade. And here's something fascinating. As comfort deepens into attraction, these movements don't just become more frequent, they become slower, more deliberate. There's a calmness to them, a kind of settled energy. Let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever noticed someone absent-mindedly playing with their bracelet, watch, or sleeve while talking to you? Not in a nervous way, but in a soft, almost rhythmic way? If you have, comment yes below. But when this combines with what we're about to talk about next, that's when the dynamic begins to shift. Because attraction is rarely one loud signal, it's a pattern. And the more you understand the pattern, the less you have to guess. Now let's move into something that reveals direction, where her attention is actually going, not just where her words are, the legs and feet. This is one of the most honest parts of the body because people rarely think to control it. You can consciously manage your facial expressions. You can monitor your tone of voice, but your feet, your legs, they often reveal your true focus without you even realizing it. If her feet are pointed toward you while you're talking, that's attention. If her knees angle in your direction, that's engagement. And if she subtly adjusts her position so her lower body aligns with you, that's her body choosing you as the focal point in that moment. But there's another layer here that's often misunderstood. When attraction begins to build, the body doesn't just become still, it becomes alive. There's a subtle increase in energy. Think of it like this. Her nervous system is responding to the interaction. Something about the moment is stimulating, engaging, drawing her in. Think of it like this. Her nervous system is responding to the interaction. Something about the moment is stimulating, engaging, drawing her in. I once observed this during a social gathering where two people were talking in a group setting. The woman's upper body was angled slightly toward the group, but her feet were consistently pointed toward one specific man. Even when others spoke, her orientation didn't change. That's the kind of detail most people miss, but it tells you exactly where her attention lives. And here's the contrast that matters. When a woman is not interested, her body often begins to disengage before her words do. Her feet might point toward an exit. Her legs may angle away. She may create subtle distance without explicitly saying anything. The body leaves before the conversation ends. But when her body stays oriented toward you, when she remains physically aligned and present, that's not accidental. That's intentional, even if it's unconscious. Now let's bring this all together with the most powerful signal of all, the torso. This is the center of the body, the core, and it carries the strongest message when it comes to attraction and emotional openness. When a woman turns her entire torso toward you, shoulders, chest, stomach, she's making a significant subconscious statement. From a biological standpoint, this position exposes vital organs. It requires trust. It's not something people do casually when they feel uncertain. Most people, when unsure, will angle their bodies slightly away. It creates a protective barrier, but attraction does the opposite. It draws the body forward. She may lean in slightly, adjust her posture to face you more directly, rest her hand near her waist or hips. These movements center her attention and her energy on you. And when this happens alongside the other signals we've talked about, the exposed neck, the open wrists, the aligned legs, that's when the message becomes clear. She feels safe, she's engaged, and she's open to more. And while all of that internal noise is happening, they're missing the quiet conversation happening right in front of them. Her body is speaking, but their attention is somewhere else. So here's the shift that changes everything. Instead of trying to perform, focus on being present. Presence is more attractive than perfection. When you're calm, grounded, and genuinely engaged, her nervous system feels it. There's a sense of ease that develops naturally, and that's where real connection begins. Now let's talk about how to respond, because this part matters just as much as recognizing the signals. Noticing these signs does not mean you rush things. It doesn't mean you push forward aggressively. It means you slow down, you match her pace, you create space for the connection to grow naturally. If she leans in, you don't overwhelm, you stay steady. If she's open, you don't rush, you remain grounded. This is what confidence actually looks like. Not forcing outcomes, but allowing them. Try this simple practice. During your next conversation, take one deep breath and consciously relax your body. Drop your shoulders. Maintain gentle eye contact. Because once you learn to see what most people miss, you stop guessing and you start connecting. Now let's move into something that reveals direction, where her attention is actually going, not just where her words are, the legs and feet. Now let's bring all of this together with the most powerful signal of all, the torso. This is the center of the body, the emotional and physical core. And when it comes to attraction, it speaks louder than anything else. When a woman turns her entire torso toward you, shoulders, chest, stomach, she's making a significant subconscious statement. From a biological and psychological perspective, this position exposes vital organs. It requires trust. It signals that she feels safe enough to be open. Most people, when uncertain or guarded, will angle their bodies away slightly. It creates a subtle barrier, but attraction dissolves that barrier. It invites closeness. You might notice her hands resting near her waist or hips, drawing attention to the center of her body without any conscious intention. And here's the key detail that ties everything together. When this happens alongside the other signals, when the neck is exposed, the wrists are open, the legs are aligned, this isn't random anymore. It's a pattern, and that pattern is her body saying, I feel comfortable here. I'm engaged. I'm open to this moment. Not rushed, not forced, just open. Now let's pause for a second, because this is where a lot of men unintentionally get in their own way. The reason most of these signals are missed isn't because they're too subtle. It's because attention is turned inward instead of outward. So many men are physically present, but mentally somewhere else. They're replaying past experiences. They're analyzing every word before it leaves their mouth. They're trying to calculate the perfect thing to say. And while all of that is happening, they're missing the quiet, consistent signals right in front of them. It's like standing in front of a green light, but convincing yourself it's still red. I've heard this so many times. I didn't want to assume, or I wasn't sure, so I didn't act. And while caution can be wise, constant hesitation often comes from overthinking, not from reality. Here's the shift that changes everything. Instead of trying to control the interaction, learn to observe it. Instead of trying to impress, focus on connecting. Because attraction doesn't live in perfect lines. It doesn't come from rehearsed confidence or clever responses. It lives in energy, in how present you are, in how grounded you feel, in whether you're actually experiencing the moment or just performing through it. Women feel presence before they analyze words. If you're calm, attentive, and genuinely engaged, her body responds to that. Her nervous system relaxes. There's a sense of ease that develops naturally. But if you're tense, distracted, or chasing validation, that's felt too, often immediately. So what do you do when you start noticing these signals? Here's a simple practice you can start using immediately. The next time you're in a conversation, take a quiet breath and bring your awareness into your body. Relax your shoulders, soften your posture, maintain natural eye contact, and most importantly, listen fully. Not to respond, but to understand. When you do this, something shifts. You begin to notice details you would have missed before. You feel the rhythm of the interaction, and you respond in a way that feels natural instead of calculated. Because the man who notices what others overlook doesn't need to chase. He recognizes, he responds, and that changes everything. So let's bring this all together in a way you can remember. The neck signals comfort and trust. The inner wrists reveal emotional openness. The legs and feet show where attention is directed, and the torso communicates full engagement and vulnerability. One signal might mean curiosity. Two signals suggest growing interest. But when all of them begin to align naturally, that's when connection is happening on a deeper level. Before you leave, I want you to reflect on this, and I genuinely want to hear your answer. Which of these signals have you seen before, but didn't fully understand at the time? Was it the way someone leaned in? The way they stayed present? The way their body seemed to choose you, even when their words didn't say it directly? Share your experience in the comments. Your story might help someone else recognize what they've been missing. And if this gave you a new perspective, if it helped you see attraction in a clearer, more grounded way, go ahead and like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who could benefit from understanding this. Because once you stop guessing, you start seeing. And when you start seeing clearly, you start connecting in a way most people never do.